Hi everyone, and welcome to Just Small Talk. Grab your favorite mug, settle in, and let's just chat. I'm so glad you're here. I'm your host, and today we step into the mind of a nation, Ukraine. A country fighting for survival, learning a painful lesson. In global power struggles, justice is a luxury. Survival is the only goal. Ukraine fights, yet its fate is debated in Washington, Moscow, and Brussels, everywhere but Kyiv. South Korea knows this pain. In the 1950s, it became the front line of the Cold War, its future decided by superpowers. When peace was brokered, Korea had little say. Today, Ukraine faces a similar truth. No matter how bravely it fights, the war may not end on its terms. And the hardest part? The fear that its allies will one day decide that Ukraine is no longer a priority. War's toll is not just in destruction. It lingers in exhaustion, in national grief. South Korea survived its war, but what followed? Decades of dictatorship, relentless labor, a society that still carries the scars. Even now, South Korea has one of the highest suicide rates in the world, a silent reminder of a nation that never had time to heal. Ukraine too will face this. Even if it wins, what will it have lost? The battle for survival does not end when the guns go silent. It continues in rebuilding, in reclaiming identity, in ensuring that war does not define the generations to come. Can a weaker nation ever truly trust its allies? South Korea watched as the US nearly withdrew its troops in the 1970s, leaving it vulnerable. In 2021, the world saw how quickly the US abandoned Afghanistan. And Ukraine? It remembers 1994, when it gave up its nuclear weapons in exchange for security guarantees, only to see those promises broken when Russia invaded. Alliances are not friendships. They are contracts of convenience. And when power shifts, history has shown that weaker nations are always expendable. But if history teaches anything, it's this: weak nations cannot afford to be weak in spirit. South Korea rebuilt itself, not just militarily, but economically, making itself indispensable. Ukraine must do the same. It must ensure that abandoning it is more costly for its allies than supporting it. It must think beyond war and fight for economic autonomy. Because true survival is not just about winning a war. It's about controlling what comes after. South Korea is often called a miracle nation. But miracles come at a price. The generations that rebuilt Korea carried the weight of a nation that had once been powerless. Even now, that burden lingers, a relentless drive to never be weak again. Ukraine is walking the same path, and like South Korea, it may one day rise stronger, but it will carry, for generations, the silent grief of a country that has known the cruelty of being weak in a world that only respects power. Because that is the real cost of survival. Thank you for listening to Just Small Talk. If this episode resonated with you, consider sharing it. Because sometimes, understanding the past is the only way to prepare for the future.